new topic for the stream. So it's Blender time. So I was going to sit back and do a little bit of sculpting inside of ZBrush. Just, I haven't touched ZBrush in months, so I want to dive into it. But I think more and more, as sort of the days and the weeks of COVID-19 sort of stretch on, I need to find a different solution for people who have difficulty sort of getting the software that they need, or, we have the solution of remote piloting PCs in the studio labs at the university, but that's not necessarily something everyone can do. Whereas Blender is available open source and free. So here we are, and Blender time is me time. Nothing to do with academia or any of that. It's just me sort of exploring it. So I wanted to dive into a digital sculpture, but I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of get my feet a little bit wetter inside of Blender. So, what did you think of that lecture this morning? It was pretty cool. Visual studies, talking about breaking down the Diablo trailer, which is always super fun. And a little intro to character design. I wanted to get a little bit further with the character sketch, but I spent so much time on the Diablo trailer. I gotta really put a stop to that, which is unfortunate because it's like super fun to talk about. All right, so I already have a copy of Blender, but I'm reckoning I probably need to update it. So I thought I'd walk you guys through the very first kind of steps that you need to take to get on the Blender wagon. So let's hop into Blender. Yep, there's a new update. 2.9.0.1 is here. Update now for more stable 2.9 experience. Yeah, I'm all for that. So again, for those of you who don't know, Blender is free and open source. I'm pretty sure everybody out there in Twitch land probably knows about Blender by now. It's like the sort of software that everybody's using. One sec, I'm just going to grab the lines here. It's a little bit too in my face at the moment. All right, so that gets rid of the glare a little bit, but I lose my super cool kick light. All right, so, oh, and it would help, I think, if I flashed up the correct tutorial display. I'll get it, guys, I promise. I will. I'll become a little bit more stream savvy as the years go on and on and on. So there we go. Let's grab Blender 2.9.0.1, and we'll grab the Windows installer. It's all good. I wonder if the installer will auto-detect a previous version of Blender. Okay, so I generally try to keep all of my installs in one place. I'm going to pop this on my cloud drive for the time being. Let's just pop it in here for a sec. And then I'll organize that a little bit later. 71% of skipped frames. What is going on? There's something happening. 36% over the last 71% skip frames. What's happening with the bandwidth out there? Okay, well, hopefully it's not doing too bad at the moment. There was an echo as well. I wanted to sort of sort that out. So I'm just, I was playing back some of the streams and noticed there was a bit of an echo. I wonder if I bring that down, if this will still be... I'll tell you, I'm going to bring this up just a little bit, just in case I'm wrong about this. But maybe that will have reduced. See, I've got a line in, but I've got a mic aux in. And I think maybe both of them are recording at the same time. So I'm going to try to see what happens there. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to muck with it. I'm going to set this up, the level's relatively high. Because I don't want to flip over to my stream and suddenly find out that I've muted everything. So we'll kind of do it this way. All right. So Blender's still downloading. So in that time, I can talk a little bit about kind of Blender and how it fits. So my interest in Blender first sparked, I think, with one of my students who showed me the cloth simulation brush that's available in Blender. And I thought, wow, that's really, really interesting. I'd heard of Blender before, kind of years before at Electronic Arts. Something that you guys might not know, but whenever a new tool appears, me and the rest of the guys, when we're at Electronic Arts, we'll always take it for a spin. We'll always give it a try, see if it'll fit in production. And I believe Blender was one of those things. 3D Coat was another one. But nothing has been able to shake Maya off its stanchion. That's just high up there, right? But this cloth simulation brush really piqued my interest. What really kind of hammered it home for me is the grease pencil. The grease pencil, for those of you guys who know, is just like a super awesome tool. But there are also sculpting tools in Blender, and I've played with them before briefly. I'm dealing with that frustration of being a seasoned ZBrush artist and going, where the heck is this? Can I do that? Or can I, and just trying to hunt and peck for the tools that you need. But to be fair, everything that I found in Blender so far closely mimics the tools that are available in ZBrush. I mean, you got a remeshing tool. I cannot remember if Blender has something similar to an insert mesh type functionality. I think there's a way of combining geometry and then sort of, I think the Blender has its own dynameshing kind of thing, which is based on voxels. So I believe you convert your geometry to voxels and you can convert it back. Or I might be confusing that with Cinema 4D. I don't know. We'll jump in and find out. But my distinct impression the last time I used the sculpting tools inside of Blender, it was not an unpleasant experience. So let's pop in there and see what we can see in terms of creating characters. I think the Blender is taking a while, so let's take a look at ZBrush whilst we're waiting. That way you're just not hanging out watching me download something. It seems like we're having some bandwidth issues, which is really kind of crazy. We shouldn't be, because I've got a rock solid connection on this. 78% over the last 2 minutes of skipped frames. My apologies to you guys in advance. I don't know what is happening unless it's the Forti client bridge. I've got a VPN bridge active. Let's see what would happen if we deactivated that. So this is my live connection to the Uni computers, but I don't really need it anymore, so I'm going to disconnect from that. It's the only thing that's different in terms of connections going into and out of the house is the Forti client. So hopefully with that gone, and I'll kill it off my tray as well. Hopefully with that shut down, we won't have the same kind of issues that we've been having. So I'm going to keep an eye on this drop frames sort of warning and see if it persists. Okay, so we got 0 seconds left on the blend. Let's go show this in the folder and take a look at what we are dealing with. It should be an encapsulated executable. Let's take a look. Ooh, it doesn't want to open until it's finished doing its thing. All right, well, we'll wait on that guy, right? So I want to experiment primarily with insert mesh functionality. Actually, I'll leave this up and I can kind of talk a little bit about it as we go along. So here is where you downloaded to. And let's pop into here and we'll right click and we'll wait for it to do whatever it is it's doing, drive indexing or whatever. This is a shortcoming in the newer versions of Windows 10 that really drives me up the wall. I wonder if it's a service I can turn off or something, right? To sort of get this going faster. Okay, well, I digress. There we go. So I'm going to run this as an administrator. It's not giving me that. Okay, we'll just install it. I could have just double clicked on it. I was looking for the run as administrator. All right, so let's run this guy. I'm hoping it auto detects the earlier version of Blender and gives me the option to uninstall it, because I'd hate to have 2 versions of Blender kicking around on my hard drive, but we'll see. It's not a big deal. All right, so that's preparing to install and do its thing. And that's it, right? So all you have to do is head over to the Blender website, download the most recent version of Blender, and it gives you what's called a .msi. And a .msi is sort of a packaged executable with a whole bunch of support files that go along with it, right? And it's basically what we're familiar with in terms of an installer, a packaged installer, right? So here we go, Blender setup. And then click next. I'm going to accept the license. The GNU General Public License, you'll see that pop up everywhere if you use a lot of open source software, right? And then we're going to pop over, and I usually try to unfurl these to see what's going on. Yeah, let's install everything, libraries, everything. And I'm just going to send it to a default location. I find that with a lot of base applications, I like to give it the default location. And then with games and stuff, I set that to a partitioned hard drive or a separate hard drive. There's just a lot of ease of functionality in creating pipelines and tools if everything is located in its default install location, especially when it comes to 3D applications and things like that. Either that, or you have to make a definitive decision that all of your CG creation applications, digital content creation applications, are going to be located here, and then just not change your mind about it, ever. Because the day you do, all your pipeline tools will break. All right, so whilst that's doing its thing, let's try and pop back into ZBrush again. So there are a number of different ways of approaching a digital sculpture inside of ZBrush, right? So, you know, a classic way of approaching it for me in the past has been to, let's pop in here, and I will really quickly grab a Z-sphere, TFP. This is a powerful box, so when things like this happen, it concerns me a little bit. I do have, to be fair, I do have a lot of, there we go, okay. Oh, and I will switch over to the move and reset my orientation, go to Q, and I'm just gonna pull this up real quick just to show you sort of one of the creation methodologies I used to use in the past for blocking out a character. So I'd build my armature, which I'll go through in a later lesson so you can see this technique. But I'd build an armature using Z-spheres, and then I'd go in and I would use the Z-sketching functionality, right? So I'll turn on Show Sketch and Edit Sketch, and I'll come in here and just, whoops, too big. Let's find a good sketch material, actually. I'll come over here. I will come over here and then pick sketch shaded material, and then just, whoops, hit A to go into sketch. Oop. That's an adaptive skin preview. Z-sketch, the edit sketch is Shift A rather. So Shift A, and then I'd draw on it, right? And then I'd sort of sketch out my character. It was quite nice. The Z-sketch came along first, actually, and it was really, to me, it felt like layering clay on my object, which is what I like, right? Whoa, it's taking a while. Oh, there we go. Got this window. Yes, let you install. There we go. Okay, so that was one creation methodology, and I'll have a dedicated stream for that later on. So if you're curious, check back in. I'll see if I can relate that in the title. But let's get rid of this now. Switch and Control N. Now, the other sort of creation methodology that I like to experiment with in terms of blocking out a character is this idea of using the insert mesh brushes, right? So to have this work, I'm going to turn this guy into a Polymesh 3D, and then I'm going to come over here, and for my tools, I'm going to choose my insert mesh primitives, right? So come over here. It'll give me sort of options of what I want to put in here. We've got quite a few different base shapes we can use. Oh. And let's just grab a hemisphere because I'm just trying to make a point here. Oh, that's the undo bar, sorry. And I'll just create that, and it'll insert that geometry into there. It'll mask out the existing geometry underneath, so I can quickly kind of place this into my final geometry. And then I'll come out of this and unmask it, right? If we go to Polyframe, we've got two separate pieces of geometry that have crashed through together, and then I might head on over into the geometry, Dynamesh, and Dynamesh the whole deal, right? So we got one piece of geometry, and I can come through and I can just start sculpting this out. So this is another way of blocking out the basic shape of a character. And this is the way I wanted to work today. I was kind of in the mood to just sort of block things out. Large pieces of digital clay, jam them together, Dynamesh the whole deal, and just sculpt away, right? So that's the creation methodology. That's actually falling quickly into favor with me. I'm starting to prefer this, although there's something to be said about building out an armature, right? But we'll play with this technique today, right? So I'm just wondering if Blender has that insert mesh functionality. I'll tell you what, because I'm unashamed of looking things up as I'm kind of teaching it and learning it as well. So let's see if Blender has an insert mesh type functionality, right? There you go, it's finished. Comes with a number of primitive mesh shapes, adding objects to a scene in Blender. No, that's not, adding a new mesh in Blender. No, it's not what I'm after. Okay, so it did not uninstall the previous version of Blender, or did it? I got one Blender icon and it moved locations on my screen. So let me pop this here and we'll try it out. So maybe it automatically did. It's kind of weird that it didn't warn me to say, okay, I'm about to replace your existing Blender. Like, what if you want to keep various versions of Blender? There's one way to find out. I can go into my add and remove programs and take a look at that. So Blender is just firing up on my other monitor. I am waiting for the minimize button to become active, and I'll drag it over here and we can take a look at it. So it's got a Python functionality, right? So that's cool. So if I wanted to extend it, I can use, it looked like it said Python 2.9. That's cool. Nobody's making the shift to Python 3. So we've been at Python 3 for a little while. And I think that's because Python 3 had a number of radical shifts in terms of how it dealt with certain libraries, coding libraries and things like that. Okay, so I want to actually launch this in this window. Now that I've placed it, it should auto-detect that I want to... No, it doesn't auto-detect. Why are you opening in this monitor? That's all right. We'll just leave it go. I just wanted to show you guys. Oh, and again, I clicked past the opening window. I sort of want to show you guys what you're dealing with in terms of what windows flag up and stuff for you. Oh. And here we go, learning all the navigational things again. So, oh yeah, it's Control, Shift, and Alt. It's all about the middle mouse button. There we go. I think my favorite navigational sort of controls are in Unreal Engine and in Houdini, because it's all centered around the mouse, which becomes super handy when, like, say you suddenly have to type something, and I don't know, that's a bad example, but I do kind of prefer the way Houdini handles stuff. You know what, I really want to kind of walk through this from the beginning, so I'm going to try this again, and if we open on this monitor, I'm just going to flip over to this monitor. Why not? So watch, after this whole rigmarole, it won't be that big a deal. There we go. So I'm going to flip over. Yes, so we've got this quick setup of Blender, right? That pops up straight away. This is what I wanted to kind of walk through, right? So we've got the shortcuts. Now with the shortcuts, you can choose the existing Blender shortcuts, or you can switch to industry compatible, right? I like to keep every piece of software's native shortcuts and learn their native shortcuts. It's harder in the long run, but it will benefit you because, well, it'll benefit you if you work in a studio and you become a lead artist, or you know, a senior artist, and you're moving from workstation to workstation and you're helping people out with any dilemma that they have. If you've got your own personal set of hotkeys, it becomes very, very difficult to suddenly dive in there on somebody else's workstation and help them out, right? So select with left, spacebar, yeah, that's cool. Blender dark. Is there a Blender very dark? Evil dark. Oh, there's a Blender Maya. Oh my Lord. Oh, you know what? I think last time I looked into Blender, I switched to Blender XSI. That was like one of the first major 3D applications that I ever sort of officially learned. Actually, it's too light for me. What does the Maya one look like? Let's check that out. Holy cow. That's kind of cool. But nah. Let's stick to Blender Dark. That's cool. So next, we can getting started, release notes, open, and we can go into general 2D animation sculpting. So here's one of the things I like about Blender, and it's very, very similar in context to a lot of software nowadays that develop their sort of folder structure across the top to very closely mimic a pipeline or a workflow per se. But it allows me to pop right into the sculpting interface. So let's take a look at this. Now I'm working on probably 2-year-old memory here, so we will just sort of hunt and peck our way through. Now is a good time for me to do the old switcheroo to the other monitor. So I'm gonna bring this guy back. I like the other monitor because I'm angled a little bit better with the keyboard and whatnot. So let's go through that little rigmarole. And I will move Blender over here. So cool. Eventually I'm gonna move to the third monitor, which is my Cintiq, but I'm hoping that I can block things out relatively quickly. So here we've got the same sort of coloring convention that you find in Mudbox and in ZBrush, where all the sculpting brushes are relatively monotone in color, right? So we got our draw, the clay strips. That's cool. That's my weapon of choice when I'm inside of ZBrush. So I love it. Now we have navigate. So now, oh yeah, of course, it's all about the middle mouse, right? So that's cool. And let's see. So we've got some of the smoothing brushes. Now there's a different color combination here. So, okay, so I think these are the support brushes, but why are they a different color? There's probably a logic to that. And let's see. So we've got elastic deform, snake hook, good old snake hook brush. That's cool. Another weapon of choice, right? So pose, nudge, rotate, cloth. The cloth simulation brush. One of the primary reasons why. Oh, that's so beautiful, man. Again, it's one of the primary reasons why I wanted to kind of get in and explore. That is so cool, man. I have no idea how they're doing this. It definitely looks like a pixel screen space level calculation of some kind. I'd love to read the tech paper on that. Okay, so we got our sphere. I'm just mucking about with it at the time being, for the time being. So we're running the Eevee render engine, looks like, over here. So I'm over here on the sort of the right-hand side, what looks like our outliner. And I do remember scene collection and things like that. And then we have all of our different, I guess this would be like the way, it reminds me a bit of the modifier stack in 3D Studio Max, right? But this has got a lot of the sort of the different functionality that you can access. I think I came in here prior to, ooh, where are the tooltip menus, guys? Unless that's something that needs to be, I refuse to believe they don't have floating tooltips. So it's probably something I need to activate. There we go. So some different sort of features there in terms of what we can set for the cloth simulation brush. Now, is this what I think it is? Let's see. Where did my tooltips go? They just sort of vanished. Did I deactivate them? All right, well, okay, so that's masking. And it looks like we got masking symmetry turned on. So let me come back in and we'll do a scrape. It's not a mask. What is that? Let's see if we can reactivate the tooltips. So that would likely either be in help or in preferences, which usually lives under the edit menu. So let's go into edit preferences and let's go into interface, Python tooltips. Tooltips is on. Developer extras. Huh, interesting. Okay, so I'm floating tools and it's just not responding. We're going to be discovering this via going at it blindly. So we've got Dynatopo, which I think is like the Dynamesh, and we've got remeshing here as well. So with the remesh, looks like we can just activate it here in the drop down, And we've got Dynatopo here, which isn't going to subdivide because I don't think I have. I wonder if it's a sub-object specific thing. So if I come down here to, not a sub-object, but if I come down the hierarchy to the base creation level, maybe, oh, the option disappears then, right? So if I double click here, if I come back out here, oh, right. So I need to be in sculpting mode. So I do vaguely remember that. You got to switch from sculpting mode to object mode. So to get into sculpting mode, that's the grease pencil. What I'm trying is to flip from one menu to another menu and see if it resets. That's kind of a hacky way to do it. Don't tell me the shading menu. Oh, wow. That is cool. Nice. I really like the Eevee engine. What I'm reacting to is the display of the Chrome Ball and Gray Sphere, right? That's fantastic. I love it. A lot of the software that has this type of real-time feedback, like your Substance Painters and your Maris and things like that. Oh, if I remember right, Dynatopo is properly dynamic subdivides on the fly. That's cool. Subdivision on the fly. That's cool, right? I like that. There we go. So I flip from one menu item to the other, and I'm back into my sculpting menu set. But I need to figure out how we do. I think it's over here. Sculpting mode. There we go. Right? So let's see if we can append a sphere in here, right? So if it does it on the fly, okay, can I? So that's a collection. So for me, collections inside of Blender feel like group nodes, but a little bit more than group nodes because there are facets to a collection that you can manipulate and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to come in here and try to add a new object. I have a vague recollection it was in some kind of fly out menu. Like I'm hitting spacebar hoping the hotbox will open up, but there was an ancillary menu of some kind that would open up that would allow me to add additional objects in here. So let's see if we can explore the UI. Again, I'm just coming in here blind, no help pages open or nothing. I'm just trying to sort of figure it out. So that's the material preview. That's cool. And let's see if we can find an area where we can add additional geometry. I may have to look this one up, guys, or Groucho7. So Gareth is watching. Hey, Gareth, how do you add another piece of geometry into your scene? All right, so let's see. We got, I'm sure there was a flyout menu of some kind attached to a hotkey that would allow me to add an additional object. I vaguely remember doing that at some point, right? And let's go brush radius a little bit first, and then I'm going to sort of snake hook. We got X symmetry turned on, which is cool, right? So we want to go positive Z axis. I can't remember if Blender is Z up or Y up. That's been too long. Yeah, okay, cool. It's been too long. He doesn't remember. So we'll just sort of hunt and peck for it. Let's find out what's inside our option menus here. Do we have to go outside into object mode and then come back in? No, that doesn't feel right. So I'm just gonna pop back to its web page time, right? So Blender sculpting add object. Right, let's do that, right? So that's one thing we want to do. And I'm just going to really quickly take a look at the Blender community. There's a few things I need to sort of look at. You have to switch to object mode to add and scale objects. What? No! Don't tell me that. Oh, okay. So that sort of sucks. I don't like that. All right. Let's, there's something else I wanted to pick up on here. I don't remember now. Okay, so if we go back out to object mode, we can do that up here. Object mode, right? Oh yeah, I was going to see what the hotbox was. Because I'm sure there was something here. Oh, there we go. So let's look for the object context menu. There we go, object context menu. Here we are. So now I can duplicate objects, copy objects, paste objects. I thought there was a creation menu in here. Well, perhaps under here, object or add. There we go. So let's add another sphere, right? Let's add an icosphere. And what was move? Hotkeys for move. Why did my tooltips disappear? I need those. When I'm struggling through learning a new piece of software, I need those. So, Blender, turn on tooltips. Right, enable tooltip hints. Blender preferences, enable tooltips. Holding Alt while tooltips are disabled forces the tooltips to show. That's what I'm after. I think I accidentally disabled these tooltips. So let's try that. So I'm holding Alt and float over. No, doesn't work. The frustrating thing is I've accidentally disabled the tooltips, but it shows in my preferences that they are enabled, right? Okay, let me double check again. So if I come into edit preferences, and that pops up, and we've got tooltips. What if I turn you off, then turn you on again? Will that pick it up? That's uber frustrating, but that's cool. I just wanted to try one thing here now. So now that I've created my second object, I'd like to pop back over to sculpt mode and let's see if Dino Topo just sort of picks it up. It doesn't. Let's double check by checking our wireframe. No, it doesn't. Not yet, right? So I'm going to need to activate it somehow. Let's come in here. Let's see, actually, if we can just remesh this guy first. So let's take a look at the wireframe. No, that just does that. So Dino Topo is the thing. So let's take a look at what Dino Topo, what I need to do to activate that Dino Topo, right? So let's take a look at Blender, Dino Topo. So far, there's one negative for me, and that is having to go outside into the object mode to locate what I'm looking for. Topology rake. So Dino Topo, a dynamic tessellation, adds or remove details on the fly. Oh yeah, okay. So Dino Topo can be toggled with the checkbox in the header or with Control D. So let's try that. Control D, guys. Control D. There we go. Let's try if it. Let's see if it Dino Topos on the fly, based on just sculpting. No, it's keeping the objects separate. Why is that? Okay. Yeah, it's most definitely keeping the objects separate, right? So let's see. Do we have to move these guys together into the same? What if we have to move these guys into the same sort of area? We shouldn't have to, actually. I'm going to pop back over in the sculpt mode. Let's see. Topology bake. So we've remeshed that guy, which is all good. And I just need to know. Okay, smooth shading on there, but it's not joining these guys together. So maybe it doesn't do what I think it's supposed to do. Perhaps. So let's take a look. Dino Topo, remesh, adaptive sculpting, dynamic topology can be enabled in the Dino Topo panel. Sidebar tool, Dino Topo. Oh, right. Actually, it's ringing a bell. There was a Dino Topo one of these guys is the Dino-Topo options. And here, that's the scene, dimensions. Let's see. We're going to have to go down this manually because I don't have my tooltips. That's physics and the icosphere. Let's see if we can find a screen capture to help me out. All right, so I'm going to pop back in here. This is starting to rapidly become painful for me. Okay, so Dino-Topo render interface. So I'm going to pop the images. Let's take a quick look. I just want to see where we can activate this guy. Let's pop into here. Take a look at the images. Transform location. Is it in the main sort of menu? Let's take a look at Dino-Topo workflow basics. That's probably what we're after, I think. All right. So, oh, this is just a forum post. Yeah, let's investigate that. So I'm going to pop back over here. Is it up? There it is. Right. So if we click this off and on, what we need to do is we need to merge those objects together, don't we? I think that's the missing step. Right? Let's take a quick look here. So Dino-Topo, two objects. Yeah. How to join mesh in Dynamic Topology Blender. How to merge two sculpted meshes. There we go. Right? Direct union option in an add-on. Okay, so direct union. Control J. You can join multiple objects with Control J. Control J. On sculpt mode, until you make it smooth it out with the F smoother. Okay, so let's try that. Now, one thing that's missing, I think, is do you select them? What do you do? Right? So I'm going to pop back, deselect, Control J, right? Yeah, that's not going to work because we need to specify. So I'm going to click this guy and that guy. Now hit Control J and see what we get. And that hasn't done it either, right? So one of the dangers of popping over onto the internet, right, is that you'll get answers like this, which is like, okay, dude, Boolean modifier to create a union between new meshes. I think we got to go up to object mode, guys. So I'm going to head on over to object mode, right? Now we're going to hit, with those two selected, Control J. Aha! That's the missing piece, right? And then we pop back over into sculpt mode, right? And then did it dynamically? No, it hasn't done it, right? So do we need to? I wonder if I sculpt on it, is it going to be no? So we still got two arbitrary pieces of geometry here. Looks like there's an old add-on called Bool Tool to make unions. Yeah, I think the Control J at object level worked, but it's not a unified skin, right? So when I go here, we got two separate topologies. So I wonder if I have to come back in here. Do I have to come back in here and then Dino-Topo this way? Oh, I do. No, that still didn't do what I wanted it to do. Holy cow. Why is this so painful? All right, so I know. Let's remesh this bad boy. That'll do it, right? Or should do it, right? Oh, it's doing it. No, it's not. Or is it? Is that a vertex count? Yeah, it might be in the process of doing it. I'm not 100% sure. Or is that just indexing vertices? I don't know. Okay, well, pop back in here. Oh, no flying tooltips. That's really sort of annoying. That's cool though. Let's come in here. Let's go back out to object mode because I just really want to see what's going on. So in this object mode, we got our sphere, two different topologies. Why is that? And let's see if we can combine those into a single entity. Nope. I know it's in there. Was it a conversion to voxels first? Take a look. I need to know these basics just to sort of get going, and then hopefully sort of build up some steam. So, Blender, combine mesh into one mesh. I saw it flash up there. That's pretty much. You can merge multiple meshes together using a feature in Blender by default. Simply select all the meshes you wish to merge, hit Ctrl-J to join them together. But they need to be one contiguous geometry. So it's telling me, yes, it is a single editable mesh. Am I missing something here? So we are inside object mode. And we've got the Ctrl-J for join. That's cool. I got ya. I'm following. And then we can separate. So we got a mesh combine. And then we need to remesh. That's what we want. Blender, remesh, combine mesh. That's kind of what we're after, isn't it? I think, right? So let's see what this has to say. Numpad to perform a union operation, Control Shift Numpad Enter. Okay, so no, that doesn't feel right. I don't remember doing all of those steps to just get a contiguous piece of geometry like a Dynamesh. Let's pop back into sculpting mode because I have a feeling I'm using this one incorrectly. So do I have to come down here? But then when I come back out to sculpt mode, you know, I don't think I have the whole thing selected properly. Let's try that. No, it's not remeshing it. That's the other thing. Let's check if it's maintained the mesh boundaries. It may have. Yes, it has. So we've got it inside another object and it's preserving it, right? And we don't want that as well. Found Bool tool in the preferences add-ons. It just needs activating. Okay, let's check it out, right? So edit preferences, and we'll head over into the plugins, no, add-ons, and the Bool tool. So that's probably add mesh and Boolean tool, I'd imagine. Let's have a look. There's a lot of really cool additional. What's a discombobulator? That's kind of cool. All right, so let's take a look. Mesh, edit mesh tools. That's cool. Loop tools. Some cool stuff in here, guys. So object, there we go. Object Boolean, right? So Control Shift B. Let's try that. I'd imagine we have to be in edit mode and at this level of the hierarchy. What did I just say? Okay, let's go back to the preferences, right? And in here, we'll navigate to where we've activated that. And it is Control-Shift-B. There you go. So Control-Shift-B. Control-Shift-B. Ah, you're joking. Control-Shift-B. Let's go Union. And we have a traceback error. Let's find out what's causing it to error out. So I'm going to open up the Blender info log. Okay, it might be because I've already joined these objects. So this sort of, the Boolean tool may not be able to process already combined objects. So if I had two separate objects, I think there would be a different issue in terms of that. Or we would be without issue, I think, if it were that. But let me pop back into sculpting mode and Dynatopo. Let's go into the remesh menu set and let's see what's happening here. So if I select this guy, then remesh, it's not doing it. Okay, so I'm not super happy about that because it's one of the, I'm actually trying to recreate the ZBrush workflow for me. Gareth is trying it out as well, not much luck either. So here's the thing, here's what I want to do. So this is why I'm sort of hunting and pecking around here. I want to be able to take geometry, another piece of geometry like I showed you in the insert mesh, jam those two together, and then turn that into one big contiguous piece of mesh, like a skin, and I can continue sort of sculpting on it. There are problems if we keep these two pieces of arbitrary mesh separate. It'll cause a number of headaches later on down the line in the sculpting process. So I want to get these guys joined up and living happily together, right? I do like the shift middle mouse button to get you to an orthographic. That's kind of cool. Right. Oh, it only gets you to the one orthographic, really. And then we've got the control and the shift. So I'm going to take one more kind of little peek around to see, because I'm certain it was some sort of voxel. Yeah, it's a voxel conversion. I'm going to take another quick look to see if we can. Let me put voxels in here. So Blender, combine mesh voxel. Let's see what that gives us. Join objects and voxel remesh. That is what I want. Let's watch a video. Let's watch a video, guys. All right. No, not this. Okay, so.
All right, guys. How's it going?
Yeah, okay.
And hopefully that'll be
All right.
the duplicate.
Right, here we are. There we go. So that's what we're after. Okay.
So I'm not looking for an award here. That should be good enough for an example. So you'll notice that all these are separate objects.
Yes, I do notice
So
that.
select each object and hold shift. So with everything selected, you'll notice the highlight colours are slightly different. So the last thing in the order is a slightly lighter orange. So when we use the join function, that is generally the last object to be joined. So keep an eye out here in Outliner. Now we
Right.
can use the shortcut Control and J. Or
Perfect.
right
We've
click
done
on
that.
the mesh and you can see here, join. Always keep your selection in mind when it comes to the order.
Right.
So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly jump into sculpting and I'm going to use the remesh tool. So you can see here voxel size. Size of the voxel in object space used for volume evaluation. Lower values preserve finer details. And that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for 0.015, which is pretty low to be fair. Now we could use the adaptive setting. It reduces the final face count by simplifying geometry where it's not needed. But we'll just leave everything on default. But one thing I will check is I'll do
Smooth normals, that's good.
and I'll hit remesh. Now obviously the larger the topology, the lower the voxel size, the longer it will take. So we get some.
Oh, I can see it worked right there in the border edges,
Now we can work.
right? So it's like right there, you can tell it's worked.
A little bit of smoothing on the
All right, so it is what I thought it was. And we did do it, but we're missing some key ingredient because it didn't work, right? So it worked exactly the way it was supposed to. I can tell that the join didn't work because, oh, what was the frame key again? It was something weird, like a period, wasn't it? Yeah, period. Right? So you can see that there's a clear demarcation line. Like if the remeshing of the joined object works, then it would look like saran wrap has covered the whole thing. Got it working what? By bool tool union in object mode. Yes, okay, so I don't think it worked because I joined this a different way, right? So one quick question, Gareth. So when you did the Boolean tool union in object mode, did it create a single skin around both objects? I reckon we might see a result if I actually enter a value here, right? So it is not remeshing this guy. I think the one step that's missing, oh yeah, it did, okay, cool. I think the one thing that's missing, we'll back up a whole heap of steps, is that we created this one object in here when ideally what it needed to do was keep these guys separate. So check this out. I'm going to do this and then control select that guy. Or is it shift select? Shift select will grab everything. So control select, right? And then we'll go to, is it control shift B? I'm in sculpt mode, so let's pop over into edit mode, right? I got this guy, I got this guy, control shift B. Oh yeah, loving life now. Okay, so I wonder if we go out to object mode, if we'll get a better result. Out here and there, control shift B. There you go. Oh yeah, well at least the option opens up. I hit union. It's brought those two guys together. And let's take a look at the wireframe. No. Let's go back to sculpt mode and let's see if our remeshing operation will work. So let's, where's my navigational controls there? Okay, so let's try remeshing this guy. There we go. Oh my Lord. Took us a long time to get here. Okay, no, that's cool, right? Let's see. So Dino Topo should now, once we activate it, should be able to kind of remesh on the fly sort of thing, right? I think that's what Dino Topo is supposed to do. Yeah, it is, right? So if we go to an area with sort of less kind of distribution or less dense distribution, and we change our brush size. Yep, so it's retopoing on the fly. That's cool. Now I'm comfortable. Let's see if we can start doing some stuff. Is there a wireframe on shaded down here? Let's take a look. Viewport shading. Because I'm switching over to this wireframe, but it would be nice to have a wireframe on shaded. I'm sure that it's in here somewhere. So that one is that. Oh, this is actually a nice sculpting environment. So let's try this. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this guy over. One quick question: is Blender Z up? I have a sneaky suspicion it is. Let's check it out. Let's take a look. Blender is Z up. Is it? Especially we see depth as something forward, not as up. In normal life, up can be regarded as height, so that would be the Z-axis. See depth as something forward, not as up. In normal life, up can be regarded as height, so that would be the Z-axis. Oh, I see the logic of that. Okay. So yeah, so we are Z up. I had a sneaky suspicion just because of the way it navigates. I had a feel for it. I thought it might be something like this. Okay, so now let's figure out how we can bring symmetry. So we've got symmetry set up already along the y-axis, have we? Yep. All right. So I'm actually going to take this guy and kill it. Let's start from the beginning, right? So I'm up into object mode. I'm going to right click and no, I'll go into add, and let's add a sphere. Let's see what we've got. Surface, NURBS, metaballs. That's cool. Volumes, armature. Cool, cool, cool. So I'm going to bring in a mesh. Bring in a. We just seem to have an icosphere. Where are the spheres? Cylinder. I don't mind that because UV sphere. There you go. So let's do this, and then let's see if we can. I'm gonna pop over into sculpting mode, right? Just because I want to start snake hooking some details out. So let's pop over here, and let's grab that snake hook. This guy, right? And now, what is the brush hotkey? Brush size hotkey. Because I need that quite a bit, right? Okay, so no rhyme or reason. I think I'm just sort of starting on the torso. Oop. So I'm pushing and pulling here, and then suddenly my cursor indications are gone. That's a bit sort of strange. Why is it gone down there? Really, really bizarre. And a couple of things I'm missing at the moment. I need to be able to snap to orthographics as well, right? So that's kind of a bit weird. Am I navigating in the right space? Yeah, it should be, yeah. Okay. Right click, just found it. Oh, okay. Just found which one? So now I'm going to come in here. Let's try and bring in another UV sphere. And now we've got the move, scale, rotate stuff that I was looking for earlier. Okay, so I'm going to move this guy here. And then let's scale this guy down. Shift, spacebar, and S. Oh yeah, Blender's got that weird thing. Okay, so I want to be sort of careful. I want to make sure I'm moving in the correct axes. Actually, I'm going to switch back over to sculpting mode, and then we'll do head placement using the snake hook, because that way I can also play with the shape of it a little bit. And I need a hotkey for the radius of my brush, man. Okay, so I'm also going to start pulling up what will be. Oh, I got to be on this guy, right? Okay, I'm still on this guy. Do I need to double click? How do I select that guy? I'm still on the head sphere. Okay. I want to be on the body sphere. Huh, interesting. Oh yeah, right click for brush size? Okay. Aha, thank you. Perfect. Now, how do I switch over to that sphere? Crazy, crazy. All right. It's the simple little things, hey, that are really frustrating and aggravating. Okay, so let's move. Okay, do I have to come back out to object mode, switch back to sculpting mode with that selected? Am I now affecting that? No, I'm not affecting that. I'm just affecting that object. If I click on that, oh, wait a minute, I want that, right? Go back to sculpt mode. Now I can affect this. Oh, that's strange. I hope that's just my kind of stupidity, because it would suck if that was like the way it works. Okay. I'm just sort of mucking about here, and then I'm going to head over to object mode, and let's bring in another sphere. Okay. So at this point, I need sort of the mirroring functionality, right? Massive, yes, I know, for a reason. Okay, so let's see a mirror copy. So with that selected, let's go to object. So we should be able to, there we go, mirror in the global X. Oh, no. Object selected, object mirror. That's that one, and then this one. Oh, I see. Okay, all right. So this actually activates something. I'm gonna come and that's selected. Okay, so that seems to be object level, and then that's sub-object level. And I can turn off sub-object level. Go back in here to object level. Oh, weird. Okay. Don't want to select that. Whoa, the selecting is a bit funky. All right, so let's try and go again. Object mirror. Instead of global, actually, let's try the local x-axis. Here we go. So we got a mirror flyout. And nope. So that wasn't it. Let's go to so how do we duplicate and mirror across? That would be the big thing. So let's again go to Mr. Tinternet and Blender duplicate mirror. Right. Press period to bring up the pivot. No, why? Press Control M for mirror and press X to mirror on the x-axis. That seems really convoluted. Let's take a look again, right? Press period to bring up the pivot pie menu and left select 3D cursor. Next press Shift S and choose cursor to center. Shift D to duplicate selection. No, there's got to be a better mirror flip. In edit mode. No, that's not what I want. Duplicate the selection that you're using and scale it to -1. Now, that's an old hack. How to mirror or flip duplicates in edit mode. Mirroring, here we go. Let's check the official documentation. So, mirrored duplicates. So, to mirror a selection, press Control M. Now, the big question is, what mode do you need to be in? Well, let's give it a try, shall we? So I've got this object, Control M, and it's not giving me, we've got options down along the bottom to show what that tool will do. Let's choose the x-axis. Ho-ho. And then what do I need to do next? Mirror along the x-axis. No, it's not doing it. Holy cow. Oh, here we go. So x-axis and then confirm. And enter. Okay, hold tight. I will be right back and we'll figure out how to mirror objects. Hey, yeah? Wrapping up at 4. Yeah. Why? What do you need? Oh, okay. You can come and hang out. The students don't mind. Or I can come downstairs. Yeah. Well, like I said, you can send them up here with me if you need to go. Yeah. Okie doke. I'm back, guys. So, yeah, this is what we're trying to figure out. We want to mirror this guy across. And the simple instructions for the mirror functionality are not working. So there must be middle mouse button to interactively mirror the object by moving the mouse in the direction of the mirror axis. Let's try that. Middle mouse button. Middle mouse button's just rotating me around. So let's pop in here quick. Let's see. Object and edit modes. That's cool. Object, mesh, mirror. Control M. Mirroring an object to create a reversed version of the selection. The position of the mirrored version of the selection is determined by the pivot point. Okay, so let's try that then. So it was period zooms us out. No, it was a comma, wasn't it? Comma. And that's the orientation menu. So let's read through this carefully. Hey Al, how about that? Let's read through it carefully. Common use of mirroring is to model half an object. Yes. Mirrored duplicates can also be created with a mirror modifier. I don't want to use a modifier. To mirror a selection along a particular global axis, press Control M. We did that. Followed by X, Y, or Z. We did that. The image mirroring a selection shows the result of this action after a mesh element has been duplicated. It is not working for us at the moment. In mesh mode, you can mirror the selection on the current selected transform orientations by pressing the appropriate axis key a second time. For example, if the transform orientation is set to normal, pressing Control M followed by X and then X again will mirror the selection along the X axis of the normal orientation. Yeah. You can alternately hold middle mouse button. Yeah. Okay, so we are in object mode. Let's go into edit mode, right? So we're in edit mode. I'm going to grab this guy. Turn that off because I just want to grab on object mode. Let's try this. Control M in object mode, right? And then across the X axis, please. And we get Blender's sort of nice little kind of utility. Do we have to do something like that? Then confirm. I feel like there's some other menu options that's missing from you under circle select, object context menu, or left click move. No, that's not what I want to do. Wow, okay, so let's sit back and think about this again. Okay, so is there an edit duplicate? Let's pop in here. Copy and paste objects. So let's do Shift D to duplicate. Oh yeah, that's right. And it sort of sticks to that. You guys, you want to know something? Let's keep going because I wanted to do sort of an asymmetrical sculpt here. Hopefully they've got topology mirroring, but we'll see. But I just want to continue on. Right? Okay, so I'm gonna pop back into let's label some of these guys actually. So this will be my head for now. Head object, and then we've got torso, and I'm just gonna experiment with collections at the minute. So I got the head, torso, sphere, sphere, right? And then I believe it was under here where we can come into, no, where was it? Is it this guy? Right click, new collection. There you go. And then we'll take these guys and we'll pop them into collection 2. And collection 1 will be my DOP. I remember doing this, right? So, and then this guy will be my character, right? That's cool. So I've got shoulder left and then shoulder right. Okay, now I want to come back to the torso because I want to go into sculpt mode and just push and pull a little bit of what I'm after. Okay, now I'm going to go back into object mode and let's see if we can add another UV sphere. Head, shoulder, torso. Wow, okay, so why is this not in? Let's go back up to object mode. Are you here? Oh, now it worked? Holy cow, just adding that to nice. Nice. If you use the modifier, I think you can collapse it straight after. Okay. Which modifier is that? Okay. So we go back to object mode. Put that there. And I'm going to add, let's try this again. Now add another mesh UV sphere. There you go. So we've created that sphere. Now I want to bring it on over here. Okay, cool. So let's see if we can scale this down. What are the hotkeys, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. All right, so I'm gonna pop in sculpt mode again and right click for the, I don't know if I like the right click. I want a traditional hotkey, man. All right, so let's pull this guy into here, right? Which is totally cool. I'll pull this guy up a little bit more. Now I'm just keeping this sort of basic, just to give myself kind of an idea of what I'm after. I want this to be a little bit further back. I'm totally doing the thing where I'm just using the tools I know to achieve certain things as opposed to trying to figure this out properly. But you know, you get to this point of frustration with whatever tool you're working with, and then you just try to hack your way around it a little bit. Okay, so let's turn off the symmetry in the tool. Okay, let's see. Oh, cursor. No, there's fall off opacity. The stroke. There should be under here. The mirroring inside here. No, there's no mirroring in here. It's painful to watch, isn't it, guys? Well, trust me, it's painful to do. All right, so let's under here, under the cursor menu, display cursor. No, what's that? Fall off. No. So I want to turn off the symmetrical selection here. So let's take a look at that. Okay, mirroring, and we'll go to Blender, sculpting, turn off mirror symmetry. Disable and enable symmetry when sculpting. Go to the sculpt mode, then select and deselect the axis in the tool panel under the symmetry. So under our tool panel, and so we're going down to symmetry. Yeah, there we go. Needs a hotkey. Definitely needs a hotkey. All right, so this is cool. Now I wish there was a way I could just duplicate this across, but that's all right. We'll figure it out, right? I'll do something like this. And extending the tricep up like that. Right? Yeah, we need to do something with the shoulders. I'm not too worried about it at the moment. For the mirror. Oh, okay. So if the mirror modifier, then you can collapse it straight away. Okay, so let's give this one more shot, right? So I'm gonna pop back over into edit mode. I've got that sphere, right? Let's actually go to object mode because I want to grab the sub object, right? Was it Control M for mirror? Then X. Aha! I see. So it was mirroring the sphere, but because of a sphere, we weren't seeing that effect. There you go. It's not doing the mirror copy. So let's see if there's a mirror copy in here. Well, I do have the tool that I wanted, so that's cool. I'm going to undo that mirror flip. So for now, I'm just going to Control D to duplicate. Does Control D duplicate? Oh, it might not. Using another piece of software as hotkeys. Man, my bad. Okay, so let's come over here and we'll see if we can we do, let's duplicate the object, right? So we got that other sphere, and I'm going to Control M it here in object mode. Ooh, something weird going on with the cursor. It's wrapping around. That's bizarre. I'm going to escape out of this. Grab that object, Control M, and then X. Okay, and then confirm with a left click. That's a lot of clicks, guys. That's a lot of clicks. Oh well. So, and I want to rotate. Oh, what are the hotkeys now? Shift spacebar R. I remember one of those keys is unnecessary. I think it's like spacebar R, was it? Spacebar R. Oh, and then that gives you the interactive, right? And if we go Shift R, oh, that gives you incremental rotate. And if we go R, oh yeah, that's right. The spacebar was no longer necessary, so you can just click R for rotate. That's cool, but it's a weird rotation. I'd rather have a like the gizmo. So let's pop up. What are these guys? Okay, now my tooltips are gone again. Yes, I love it. Woohoo! All right. Well, I just want to move this guy, right? Let's do the rotate. And move. That's frustrating. I need to figure out the hotkeys for that one. I know I just need to look it up. I'm just being lazy. And in a lot of ways, working harder because of my laziness, right? Okay, so I'm going to pop back over here. I'm going to work work on what I want to do for this posing. I think I'm just going to experiment with this a bit. So I think if I click here, no, it's the same thing. So there is a pivot point in there somewhere that needs to be manipulated correctly. All right. So I've kept these as separate pieces of geometry because I'm going to be doing a little bit of posing and whatnot with it in just a second. So I'm in object mode, so I'm just going to come in and grab another UV icosphere. Let's come in here and add another sphere. And let's look up the move, scale, rotate, shall we, guys? We are in Blender mode today, so Blender, move, scale, rotate. I swear I got to the point where I was operating inside Blender okay, reasonably okay, but man, I've just forgotten everything. Oh, I thought that was going to link me to a hotkey sheet. It's okay, G, R, and S. Thank you, that's all I wanted, right? So we go G, that's cool. I don't know if that's going to be hard to get used to. I sort of like it, right? But yeah, wow, that's going to be hard to get used to. Okay, and we're pop back into sculpting mode. And let's get that radius down a little bit. Hotkey would be nice again. And let's go to our tools down into symmetry, and let's turn on the X symmetry, right? And then create a bigger radius for more of a dramatic impact in terms of changes, right? Okay. So again, I want to get this to a point where I've got some digital clay that I can work with, right? So I'm just sort of rushing through this a little bit. There's probably a gazillion easier ways to do this, but what I like to do when I'm learning a new piece of software is just to sort of dive in, right? And take a bite of my bagel lunch, and it's like 2:17 and I haven't had lunch yet. Do Twitch streamers eat in front of you? I don't know if that breaks some kind of etiquette or what have you. All right. Okay, so let's pop in here, and I'm going to add a UV sphere. There we go. And I'm just gonna go into sculpt mode straight away. Oh, and turn off the symmetry. See, you guys can see why I need a hotkey for this. Okay. A high insertion point for that. Little things that are really difficult with larger sort of exaggerated proportion characters, things like, you know, how are we going to get those thick legs to join up with a pelvis where the legs are not bleeding into each other? Little things like that. So I'm going to take that. Do I have to pop out into object mode? I think that I do. So let's go back out into object mode. We've got that guy selected, right click. So Shift D to duplicate. So let's try this. Shift D, Control M, whoop, and X. Something like that. I don't think I did that properly. That's all right. So let's come in here and rotate this guy around. And now we have a rotate gizmo. Now we have a rotate gizmo. What did I do? And now that, okay. I think that the fundamental thing I'm not understanding is the states. So what state you're in. Because it feels like it is context sensitive. The mirroring did not work. Control M. Oh, because I didn't confirm it. X, M. There we go. So that's confirmed. And now we've got to rotate this guy back into place. Is it G? Yeah, it's G. And G to move. Oh, that's so weird. Difficult to get used to. Okay, so at some point, set origin to 3D cursor, duplicate object, then mirror. There you go. Okay. Set origin to 3D cursor. I remember that from when I was doing the grease pencil stuff. So let's experiment. There we go. Set origin to 3D cursor. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. All right. So let's bring some more pieces in. But before we do that, I need to start labeling stuff. So this guy is the arm right. And then what are you? You are arm left. Arm left. Right. Notice my naming convention, right? So the minute, this will be the pelvis. I lead with the body part and then any modifier like left or right, and then it keeps it nice and organized and grouped together, right? So it's that. Now what I want to do is I want to take the left arm and G and R. Ooh, that's really responsive, really sensitive. Oh, I see. Pull out for degrees of precision. Oh, that's cool. I sort of dig that, I think. So let's go R. I want to grab these arms and R. Bring them out a little bit more, just so that as I'm blocking it out, the body parts don't sort of get in the way. So an interesting way of navigating. That's definitely for sure. Okay, sandwich break. One quick bite. This guy is leg right. And the next guy is leg left. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and Shift D, duplicate it. This way I've got a sort of a better initial piece, I think. Oh, I see. Let's Control Z that. Ah, okay. It's more like the transform tool, I think, inside of ZBrush, in the way the logic behind it anyway. So if I hit R out here, then I've got a rotate offset kind of built in already. I hit R again, and we can rotate around to different axes. I see. I see. Okay. All right, so I'm going to try that. Let's try this. Right click, set origin to 3D cursor. Control D to duplicate. No, it's not working. Okay, so I need to be in, yeah, I'm in object mode. So right click on this guy, set origin to 3D cursor. Oh yeah, okay, so object to 3D cursor, hit enter or select. Ooh. Okay. Grab you. Right click. Origin to 3D cursor. Circle select. Move, rotate view, object to context menu. Duplicate. Shift M. No. Control M. X. Aha. I think I kind of get it. I think I kind of get it. So I forgot to put the preferred angle into the knee. That's okay. We just need to block him out super quick. It's looking like midget guy. So LL, lower leg, right? And you are lower leg left. Okay. So let's pop over the arm, left. So now I want to Shift D, right? Move you down this way and hit R. Rotate. Aha! Actually, let's try this. I'm going to come up here, hit R. No, it still does that. Okay. And then G. And R. G. And let's see if we can do. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Lower arm. Left. Oh, I should have gone arm lower. That's all right. That's cool. Let's do that. Arm L, left. And we'll shift. Oh, no. What we want to do is right click on this guy, set origin to 3D cursor, Shift D, Control M, and X. No. Okay, let's try this again. Set origin to 3D cursor. D, duplicate. Control M. X. Oh, dude, this is... All right, okay. set origin, right? Hit enter to accept it. Click. Unless, right click without it selected, set it to 3D cursor. Is that how you do it? Then Shift D and then Control M. Is it it's not Shift M. Ah, screw it. Just gonna move it over. Yarg. Oof. Whew. Whoa, this is difficult. All right, so no, I don't want that. Okay. Do you have to accept the duplicate operation before the mirror? I think maybe. Yeah, you do. But I tried left clicking, I tried hitting enter. I'm not entirely sure how to tell Blender to accept an operation. So, okay. So it's looking quite ugly so far, but don't worry about it. I'm just kind of trying to get all the sort of building blocks in place that I need. Okay, so I'm actually going to G move this a little bit, and then same with this guy. G move him a little bit up. That's kind of what I'm after. Okay. I think the last piece I'm going to insert in here, I'm going to change this naming convention to arm L right. Okay, so mesh, and here I'm going to definitely do a cylinder, and let's scale this cylinder down. Oops. I knew it. I was grabbing scale plane. Okay, so the center circle should, it's not non-uniformly scaling. There we go. There's our non-uniform scale. And let's go back to the move gizmo. So that's another thing I'm going to have to look up. How can you switch to the gizmo as opposed to this sort of live rotate thing that Blender does? Okay, that's good enough. That'll give me exactly kind of my starting point. So I'm going to work with this. I think escape out to complete. Yeah, I thought I hit escape. I'll try that next time. That's usually sort of the case. Okay, now I don't remember what we figured out about how to get these guys together. So I think it was, you select all these guys, right? That was Control J, was it? I think Control J, let's go for it. Yes, Control J, right? Let's take a look at the geometry. It's not looking pretty. And then let's go over into our sculpting mode, was it? Oh, we've got, sort of like ZBrush's polygroups. Now, I can't remember now. So we Control J'd it. We combine all of our objects into one. I believe it's a retopo operation. Next. So it's, or a remesh rather. And I'm going to go 0.01. And let's click that remeshing. And it's working on it. It's working on it. Yep, it's done it. Okay, cool. So now let's turn on our symmetry. Mirror across the, ooh. Damn. That ain't the x-axis. Unless you right click. Oh, I know. Let's go back up to object, edit, object mode. I'm going to have to solidify the difference in my head between edit mode and object mode as well. Okay, so let's come over here. We likely need to right click, set origin to 3D cursor. Is it? Yeah, there we go. Now, I believe if we pop back out to sculpt mode, and we've got symmetry on our brush. No. Bizarre. Okay. So let's go double check our symmetry. That's the y-axis symmetry and z-axis symmetry. It's a bit all over the place. All right. So we're going to have to do this the hard way. So, I wanted to kind of pull these legs up and forward. I think I need a bigger brush. Whoa. There's this weird, like I'm trying to pull things and it's doing this like weird rotation kind of thing. Whoa, crazy. All right, so what's the smoothing? Is that, no, it's not. So let's take a look at our smoothing brushes. Shift S for smooth. Oh, we must be super hyper Teslaed. Yeah, we are. So we need to remesh this guy down. Otherwise, it's just going to be a nightmare to work with. So let's take a look at, we're into our geometry. Where is, so let's go with a higher voxel size. I mean, we don't have to be super like high res. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's a lot of keys to be manipulating to kind of do the same sorts of things that you would do in ZBrush. What I might do is we're at 238. I think I'll let's go a little bit further, but I think I'll leave it at that, just because I just want to go now dive in and rebuild this guy inside of ZBrush, right? But well, let's go a little bit further. Okay, so the tools are a little bit more responsive now, right? So I can kind of come in and do what I wanted to do for shaping and pushing and pulling this guy. Oop. So at some point, I'm going to be using sculptural brushes instead. I'm really missing the shift key to smooth. Really missing that. You know, there's got to be some set sculpting hotkeys. I'm gonna have to look them up, right? In terms of how to kind of maneuver as a sculptor inside of all this stuff. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of the recognizable polygonal shapes here and try to get something that's a little blurry. Okay, cool. So now I got something I can sort of work with. I am sort of missing the symmetry. Let's try activating it again. I want to activate it again, see what happens. No, that's so bizarre. Okay, that's cool. I did want to kind of come over here and then pull the. Whoop. That's going to be difficult without symmetry. Now, I generally pop back and forth with using symmetry and then not, and doing asymmetrical sculpting, but not having it, I'm really sort of feeling that at the minute. But that's okay. I just want to play with the shape and see what I got. Christ, it's like a third grader's sculpture, isn't it? That's okay. I know where I want to go with this. So, oh, the snake hook does some weird. You know what? I'm just going to use the regular grab tool because I know that inside the snake hook brush there's this weird kind of torquing thing that happens. I just don't want to deal with that at the moment. Okay, so now let's make some broad changes to our guy. Obviously, a cartoon character to a certain degree. This is not supposed to be like a photo real human. Right. So yo, you know what's going to be difficult is posing this guy out the way I want to, actually, now that I think about it. Because I don't have access to ZBrush's posing tools, which will be a little bit kind of dodgy to try and do inside of here as I'm trying to figure out how to use this properly. So I think I might go out and do this same character but inside of ZBrush. It's cool. I'm getting it now, getting the rhythm of it now a little bit. And let's give our guy a big back. That's kind of what I'm after. And I'm really missing the symmetry tools to help me kind of block this character out just a little bit. It's like modeling with a brick, man, I tell you. There we go. That's a bit closer to what... That's the kind of character that I'm after at the moment. Oh my God, my shoulders hurt. It took me a long time to get there. Not really happy with that. But I'm not going to outright say that Blender has some shortfalls because I have a sneaky suspicion I'm not using the tools to their fullest potential, or there's probably a bunch of you Blender guys out there going, no, that's not how you do it. Look, this would be easier if you did this and that. And yeah, I get it. I was the same way with people who were ZBrush haters, right? So it took me a long time to convince them, no, you just got to get used to it. So I'm gonna give this a chance, right? That's cool. That's kind of the proportions I was after for this. Oh, hang on a sec. Didn't Davin find that pose brush? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that was something. Shift should work for smooth. It should, yeah. I thought it would. Maybe you have to be in a particular brush, right? So if I do shift... Oh, there we go. Because this is that's that brush. So if we go to the clay rake tool, right, and I hold shift, yeah, it's smoothing. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I was thrown because... in ZBrush, when you hit shift for smoothing, the icon changes color, right? So you know you're in smoothing mode. Okay, the brush that looks like it's got a yellow razor, sort of a joint icon. Oh, okay, this guy here. Pose brush. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, oh, cool. So, I get how this works. So when you right click, it looks like the brush radius defines how you're posing that. Loving Blender again. Oh, that's so cool. All right, yeah, dude. Okay. Reinvigorated to continue kind of working inside a blender. Nice. There we go. Oh, I'm gonna have fun with this. Nope, nope. How do you set the origin point that you want? What's it detecting there? Is it the last place you worked? Last place you manipulated, maybe? Oh no, it's using some sort of ray. It's casting a ray. That's what it's doing. That would be kind of hard to control. So let me see if I can bring this radius down. If I can change how that ray cast is working. That's cool. I dig that. I think that's really cool. All right. So now what I want to do is come in here. Can we? That's manipulating it that way. I want to manipulate it this way. And this guy this way. I think I understand the logic behind what the tool is doing. And then that means I want this leg to be kind of coming this way, right? And perhaps a little bit like that. And then this guy back a bit. Oop, my influence is probably too big. Let's bring that down. Ha! Yeah, that's cool. Okay, all right. I'm feeling it now. That's awesome. Oh yeah. Ah, sweet. Thank you, Gareth. Freaking loving it. That's cool. Oh no, that influence is too big. So let's take that down. It's weird. It's like you got to click off of it to kind of tell it you no longer want to custom set anything. Oh, it's ray casting in a weird way. See, like I set my brush, then I got to click off. Oh, there it came off. Okay, weird. Okay. So. So that means this arm's got to go up a little bit. Got to. Okay. No. So how do you control that pinpoint? It's ray casting through the geometry. I wonder if it's using the normal of the polygon that you're grabbing to ray cast. Oh, there we go. A little bit. Nope. Let's see if we can go a little bit. That's cool. I really dig this brush. I think that's really cool. It's not working on that one. Wow, that's sweet. Nice. Very, very cool. Okay, so let's see if we can do a mask, right? If we can mask this, then we're getting somewhere. Oh, this guy's not looking aggressive enough, right? So there's got to be more of a lean back. Let's try a full body kind of pose. Okay. That's kind of cool. I sort of dig that. I feel like I want to block in the feet now too. That's kind of a weird pose there. So it's not working there. And I think it has to do with the raise. Well, definitely no, it has to do with the raise of this arm. I need to get that arm up. I need to get it up. Come on, raycast where I want you to raycast. No, I think I'm going to be wrestling with this. So I'm going to try and find a different solution for that. Yeah, no, it's not going to work. So there was a masking brush down here. Cloth, simplify, mask. So this mask didn't work the way I thought it would. Let's try it again. So let's come in here. Now, ideally, when you mask, right, it means you can't affect this area, right? So let's mask this guy out. Oh, and what do you do to invert the mask? That's a question. That's definitely a question. Okay, so I've masked this guy out there, right? So this should mean that I can't affect this, but weirdly, I can still affect it. Or maybe not. Okay. So let's back up a step because it looked like I found the right ray casting brush size. Something like that. I feel like I've just ruined the pose, actually. That's looking a bit better. I'm just going to go in and smooth out certain areas just to take a look. I should have saved a version, man. I tell you. Oh, yeah, I can use Shift to smooth it. Forgot about that. Yeah, so let's go and smooth that area out. And we're just going to move this back, right, and shift smooth. Let's get a smaller radius and shift smooth this area here. And let's fix up the wobbliness in the arm because it's a bit distracting. So one was, that's the elastic deform. I don't think I want that. I want this guy, grab tool. I don't know, man. I don't know. We got to get the elbow sort of pointed more upwards. I'm not sold on this pose yet. So we got a nice kind of C curve going on there. I think the shoulder's got to go up just a touch. And then let's knock this shoulder down a little bit. That one would be straight, but I think this one would be sort of straight, almost like it's aiming somewhere, but I think this would be cranked right back, or more building up, more kinetic kind of energy. That's cool. That is really cool. I love it. Okay, so perhaps we will not leave Blender and rush off to our safety crutch ZBrush. Perhaps we'll stick it out a little bit longer inside here and see what we can see. At some point, I'm going to have to go and make some notes, or I'm going to forget everything that we discovered today. There we go. You're going to make sure it doesn't look like he's running to give you a hug. I think you can draw face sets and then set the pose tool rotation origins to use them. Oh, okay. Right. So paint faces and... Oh, you don't know. Yeah, that makes sense. So if you paint certain faces on the geometry, it'll use that as an anchor point. The mask strength. Yeah, I didn't bother looking for the mask. I knew there was an adjustment for the mask strength. I just didn't bother. Oh, and there's a YouTube link. All right. Let's click on that. Pose brush and face sets. Cool. I am going to pause this and watch it later. There you go. Okay. So this doesn't look like a punch to me. Not yet. So let's make this look more like a punch. And so I think what I'll need to do is drag that forward just a little bit. And bring that radius down because I'm just wanting to crank that shoulder around just a little bit. There we go. I think. Now, something not quite right about this pose. I'm not happy with it just yet. And I could reference it, but I sort of want to explore this pose out. Just sort of feel and intuit the body mechanics a little bit. And I think maybe the head would be trying to maintain equilibrium to a certain degree, so there'd be a little bit of a head tilt here, right? And directionally, where's our guy looking? Okay, so hey Gareth, I think I should call this stream Old Farts Learning New 3D Tools. Well, actually, that's not fair. You were an X-Blender user. So it's really about me, isn't it? Okay. So, there's that. There needs to be a bit more of a stretch up here. The torso is going to stretch a little bit. And we do need to bring that pelvis up a little bit. That pelvis tilt needs to be in there. It still doesn't look like he's throwing a punch. I had a better pose before. Damn, I knew I should have saved it. Okay. It just does. It's not feeling right, guys. It is not feeling right at all. Time to act it out. Chest back. Elbow pointed down. Elbow pointed down. Elbow pointed down. Maybe he looks a little bit like he's going in for a hug because the elbow needs to point down, and the fist forearm needs to be pointed up. And elbow down. This guy going upwards a little bit more. Upward trajectory on the forearm. No, it's not working. It's this is what I love and hate about posing, right? You'll get really jazzed about a pose and you start to develop it. And it's like, it doesn't look like what he was doing before. So now let's see. What I had before was a kind of a lower. I think. That feels a bit better. I think the elbow going up and the forearm are pointed slightly down, I think feels a little bit better. I think I maybe went too far with the shoulder going down. Like that pose looks really awful, right? So let's, this is cool. Pose brush, man. Tell ya. Is the shoulder too far back? Maybe? Let's see. I think the arm went too low. I don't want the arm that low. man. Now he looks like he's dancing. Oh, man. I had a really good pose, and I'm starting to lose it. Man. I'm looking at my arcs now, checking my arcs, making sure they're all reading okay. I think what I had before was that the arm was a little bit higher. Oh, that's starting to feel right a little bit. That's starting to feel more like he's about to throw a punch. Oh, now he's gone back to I'm coming in for a hug. Give me a catch. That feels better. Like, you respond to a lot of stuff instinctively, but really what your instinct is responding to as an artist are simple body mechanics. Now, I generally spent a number of years just studying body mechanics, and then now I can intuit a lot of stuff, but sometimes you still end up sort of feeling your way around a pose, just in an attempt to get it to look right. And I think that elbow's too high. Sometimes it's a matter of little tiny tweaks, and that's sort of annoying, because a tiny little tweak will change your interpretation of a pose. I'm going to go back to the pose brush because I had good luck with that, right? So I'm going to move this. I think what I want to do is I want to move this back. I think that's what needs to happen. That looks, the chest is opening up. That's looking better. I'm not going to touch it. I got it working reasonably good. Right. I'm adjusting for that arc through there. I want that arc to look a little bit better. And let's torque that waist a bit. That's cool. I like that. That's cool. No. There it is. That's a pose I'm happy with. Right? What do you think? All right? That's not bad. It doesn't look like he's coming in for a catch. Definitely looks like he's about to throw something. Okay, I will leave it at that. It has been fun, Blender. I think I'm going to watch some videos. But see what I mean about Blender, though? I mean, I've been using Maya, ZBrush, well, Houdini for a while now. But there are these little things that Blender does and nobody else does that are really super cool. Like the cloth deforming brush and the pose tool. That's really, really cool, right? But then there are some things that are missing that I'm just like, oh. But, you know, I'm going to give it a try. Definitely going to give it a try. Okay, so let's save this guy off. I will call it a day. I won't have you suffer through me saving and setting up projects and stuff. Gareth, thanks for tuning in. I talk as if I'm talking to more than just you, Gareth, because I'm hoping that people can reference this video a little bit later. Check it out, kind of follow along.